Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to the melodramatic Vaughn Manor. And so, have you ever had one of those weeks that was so lame you wish it had just never happened? I had one of those kind of weeks. But fortunately, my pal Roger over here is a Time Lord. I know, who knew? And he happens to have a time machine. He calls it the TARDIS. I mean, it just looks like a refrigerator box with TARDIS written on the side, but apparently a TARDIS could look like anything. Anyway, Roger and we got the bright idea that we could use this time machine to go back in time and change the future, thus creating an alternate timeline. The timeline which now we all exist in. And, that's why you don't remember any of the embarrassing things that happened last week. It's like it never happened, because it didn't. We changed the timeline with his time machine. Yeah, that's what we did. So we used the time machine, went back in time, and changed the future. Now, how did buying a bunch of books change the future? Oh, apparently, if you change anything, it changes it's like the butterfly effect. It changes, everything changes, So that's how. Anyway, now that we're in this pleasant new reality, let's go over all the books that I got last week. I had lots of time to buy books last week because I have a time machine. Okay, let's go through them. What arrived here at the Peaceful Manor this week? Well, first I'm going to talk about the comic books, because we actually got some comic books this week. A lot of comics that I was expecting earlier were delayed because of world events and ports being shut down and all that sort of thing. I don't know, I heard some sort of crazy noise over there. Anyway, the first comic I got was this one. This is the XMen Epic Collection, Bishop's Crossing, which has X-Men comics from 1991 and 1992. And you can totally tell, because look at that. That is about the most 90s cover you're going to see, unless you turn it around to the back. And then this might even be more 90s than that. The 1990s, it was a strange time, obviously, for comic books. So the X-Men, this is Volume 20, Epic Collection Volume 20 of the X-Men. There you go. And I also got another Epic Collection. This is Captain America. Captain America, Sturm and Drang. This is Volume 11 of the Captain America Epic Collections. And this has Captain America stories from 1983 to 1985. So that's really cool. Captain America. Captain America is awesome. So I got that. But this next one is the one I've been waiting on literally forever. This one I really, really wanted because it's part of my Conan set of omnibus volumes. This is Conan the King. Conan the King. So, of course, Conan had a lot of jobs in his life. And after becoming a thief and, a mercenary captain and a general and a pirate, he eventually became the king of Aquilonia. And that's what this is. Marvel Comics had a series called King Conan, which inexplicably this omnibus is calling Conan the King. And this has, issues, this is King Conan issues 1 through 19. And it's really, really awesome. It's got all of these King Conan issues in there. So this is Conan in the later portions of his career when he was a king. John Buscema does a lot of the artwork, so it's really amazing. And yeah, I feel like I've literally been waiting for this comic book, or this omnibus edition of this comic book, forever. I've been waiting forever for this, and it's finally here. And it was worth it because it's fantastic. So I do have one more comic to show you, but I'll show you at the end. I always save my favorite books for the end, and I got two this time, and one's a regular book and one's a comic book. So I'll show you that at the end of the video. Before that, though, I want to show you this really cool book that was sent by Dave and Olive. Dave and Olive of Book Blather, who are both very kind. They were shopping and they saw this book. This is Arrow in the Dust. Arrow in the Dust by L.L. Foreman. And of course they saw this. They took one look at this and they knew I would like it. And they were oh so right. This is fantastic. You never find, or I never see, L.L. Foreman books. It's pretty rare. He was a pulp writer of Western stories who also did paperback originals. This being one, Arrow in the Dust. So this is really, really cool. It's awesome. So thank you very much, Dave and Olive, for sending this my way. I will definitely read this one. If I wasn't reading something else, I would probably have been reading this right now, because that looks awesome. So there were a few other books that I got this week. A few others. This one I actually found in a little free library. The little free library that sometimes has science fiction in it. And this was an Edgar Rice Burroughs book. Edgar Rice Burroughs makes a couple of appearances today. And this is Edgar Rice Burroughs' first appearance. This is Thuvia, Made of Mars. Thuvia, Made of Mars. This is the fourth book in the Mars saga. What is that? Hold on. What is this thing? Roger, what is this? Oh, this is a Rhonda what? Oh no. Apparently when I changed the timeline, I ended up with this in my... I never had this in my house. What's going on? I really messed up, I think, when we went back and changed time. Because now I've got this really strange creature living in my house. Ugh. I don't even know what that is. Anyway, some kind of goblin monkey? I have no idea. Anyway, that's frightening. We really messed up, I think, when we went back in time. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes, we were talking about Thuvia, Made of Mars, the fourth volume in the Barsoom saga. This stars John Carter's son, Carthoris, and his adventures, and how he falls in love with Thuvia, Made of Mars. So this is a good book, which I already have multiple copies of, but this was free. It was free. I had to take it. It was free. I had to take it. So this next book stars everyone's favorite, Brac the Barbarian. Brac, who's the star of multiple movies, comic books, all kinds of stuff going on about Brac the Barbarian. He's Brac. I saw every Brac movie when they first came. What? What do you mean that? What about the... There's even a TV show that's coming out. Brac the Barbarian, and it stars that famous movie actor James Holder. No? Well, apparently, when we went back in time, we wiped out the entire Brac franchise. That's sad. Anyway, I guess the books still exist. So Brac the Barbarian by John Jakes. John Jakes, who later wrote some other books that were lower profile, the Kent Family Chronicles and North and South. But, his big blockbuster hit was, well, I guess not in this timeline, but where I come from, Brac the Barbarian was this big monster breakout hit. Everybody loves Brac. And so this is Brac the Barbarian, the first of the Brac series. And I think this is a few different stories of Brac. So John Jakes was a big fan of Robert E. Howard, and he wanted to do a sword and sorcery series, and so he did this, Brac the Barbarian. And it's, okay, so he's no Robert E. Howard, but this was entertaining fun from what I remember. This was the only Brac book I actually read. I'm embarrassed to say that. But it's really cool because on the inside it's got this ad for this Isaac Asimov book that you can send away for. And I actually have that book that you could send away for. So it's the Foundation trilogy. So yeah, Brac the Barbarian. This is the first in the Brac series, which was followed by Brac. I think this is the second one. Brac versus the Sorceress. Brac versus the Sorceress, the second of the great Brac saga. Brac versus the Sorceress. And then that is followed by Brac the Barbarian versus the Mark of the Demons. The Mark of the Demons. This is the third pulse-pounding adventure of Brac. So, you know, of course, I realized I didn't actually have any Brac, even though I had read the first volume years ago. I don't know what happened to that copy. So I had to go out and find some Brac. So here they are. World famous Brac the Barbarian. So that was fun. Now this next one is Robert W. Chambers' The King in Yellow and Other Horror Stories. Now I have a digital copy of this, and I had kind of a junky small press version of this, but this is from Dover, so this is pretty good. Of course, I got this and I unwrapped this, and the lady of the manor saw it, and the first thing she said was, "Who's peeing on those books?" And now I can't unsee that, you know. Now that is, my brain is telling me that's what's going on in this cover image. Thanks, lady of the manor. So, if you can get past the cover, and I'm having a hard time doing it, this is a great, very influential collection of horror stories. H.P. Lovecraft was influenced by these stories. These stories are creepy old-timey stories with the play that if you read it, you go insane, and other creepy stuff going on, including some mystery person peeing on all these books here. So, yeah, The King in Yellow. Anyway, a few more books. So this next book is fantastic. I can't believe I didn't have this book. This was one of those books I always intended to buy, and for some reason never did. And so this is Volume 1. I've got Volume 2 on the way. A Means to Freedom, The Letters of H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard, 1930 to 1932. So H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard were pen pals. They were friends who corresponded to each other. They never met each other in real life, but they sent a lot of letters to each other, and they had many debates through their letters. But I've never actually read through all the letters, and so this is the first volume. There's 2 volumes of these. 1930 to 1932, The Letters of H.P. Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard. So this is fantastic. I want to read this right now, and so this is probably going to be the next thing I get to when I have a chance. Because, yeah, I should have read this, but I should have owned this for years. I should have had this already. Oh well, I've got it now, and it'll be a lot of fun to read and to talk about here. So I got that. So now we're at my 2 favorite things that I got this week. So I talk about Edgar Rice Burroughs a lot. I love Edgar Rice Burroughs. And I've mentioned that I have every one of Edgar Rice Burroughs' books. You know, multiple copies because I collect Edgar Rice Burroughs. But I realized that that actually is not true. There is an Edgar Rice Burroughs book that I did not have. I don't know why I forgot that I didn't own this one, but as soon as I realized I didn't have it, I had to get it. It's a book that was never, as far as I know, published in paperback when Edgar Rice Burroughs was huge. They would publish everything, but they never published this in paperback that I know of. And it's his longest novel, and that's Marcia of the Doorstep by Edgar Rice Burroughs. This is a beautiful edition of this book, one of the very few editions that I know of. In fact, I think this might be the only... I think there's one other edition that I know of, but this one is just beautiful. And this is published by Donald M. Grant Publisher. I think this was published in 99. Yeah, it was published in 1999. And it's kind of, I think, a mystery thriller kind of story with some really cool illustrations. This is an excellent book. I mean, look at that. That's just beautiful. This is such a cool book. And so, yeah, it's kind of a mystery, kind of suspensey thriller kind of thing. And Edgar Rice Burroughs didn't get a chance to write much of that because he was always, you know, writing Tarzan and Mars and Venus and that kind of stuff, because that's what everybody wanted him to do. But he really wanted to write something like this, so he did, and no one would publish it. So here it is. Edgar Rice Burroughs, Marcia of the Doorstep. Now, I haven't read too much about this outside of a couple places, so I'm going to have to read this. It's the one Edgar Rice Burroughs book that I know of that I haven't read. What is that thing? Anyway, it's the one book I haven't read from Edgar Rice Burroughs, so that's kind of exciting. It's exciting that I finally got this. I don't know why I didn't remember to get this before now. But the best thing, well, next to this, the best thing that I got this week was a comic. It's another omnibus, and it's amazing. It's ginormous, and it is... What? You be quiet over there. Anyway, it's the Book of Doom. Dr. Doom, the Book of Doom. It's about... I don't know. Is it an ape? Is it an ape? What are you? What kind of creature? Now, whatever you are, can you stop making so much noise, you little gremlin? Just let me finish this video, please. I got one more book, for crying out loud. Anyway, it's the Book of Doom. It's the Book of Doom, Dr. Doom, the greatest comic book villain of all time. I've actually only met one person who doesn't think Dr. Doom is the greatest villain in comic books. You know who you are. You're so wrong. Dr. Doom is the greatest villain in comic books. And so this has a ton of Dr. Doom stories. This has his very first appearance in Fantastic Four, Fantastic Four #5, and then all these other great Dr. Doom stories from 60 years. He's been around 60 years, this guy. So we've got 60 years of Dr. Doom. It's really, really cool. Yeah, I was really... this is another one that I've been waiting around for, and it's got like every superhero in it. There's Doctor Strange, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the Avengers. Everybody's fought Dr. Doom. It's excellent. Really, really, really great comic with some great stories and some great art. It's really, really heavy though. It's a good thing I'm enormously strong. So yeah, Dr. Doom, the Book of Doom. This is fantastic. And yeah, it is one of the best things that I got this very strange, odd week that you don't remember anything about. Thankfully so. Thank you for joining me here at the now exceedingly pleasant Vaughn Manor. I will catch you next time.